thank you all for coming out. As you know, we've had a unfortunate event here tonight at MacArthur Mall. We had a shooting in which two of our citizens were struck. From what I understand, the injuries are non-life-threatening. And just to give you an overview of what occurred based on footage that we've seen and based on witness statements. We had two young men walking in the lower level of the mall, and there was an encounter with another young man. Words were exchanged. Subsequently, gunfire was exchanged. The young man that was shot ran into a store, and unfortunately, an innocent bystander was struck in the leg as well. Both individuals are doing fine, from what I've been told. They're at the hospital. Right now, we don't have any suspect information. We do have rather good quality, from what I've been told, video footage of the incident, and I'm highly confident within short order we will make an arrest.
I mean, this is the second time you've had to do an investigation of this type this year. I mean, that's got to be concerning to you.
Yes, it's concerning, naturally, which is why I'm here tonight. You know, as each of you have heard me say many, many times, we live in a different time in which young men, the way they handle conflict is through the end of the gun. And you guys report on this almost every night, not just in Norfolk, throughout Hampton Roads. And, you know, I've said before and I'll say again, we're going to continue to see these incidents until there are some control measures in place that can kind of curtail some of this activity.
You mentioned that there's some pretty good surveillance and some video footage that you have. How vital is that in an investigation of this, like this?
Well, it's always very vital in the sense that 9 times out of 10 is the quality is good. Most people, if we don't know the individual already, will assist us in identifying the individual. We got a good understanding that these individuals were walking about the mall before the incident, so it's not just one piece of information. It's most likely going to be several.
Chief, you mentioned an innocent bystander was hit in this shooting. How do you reassure the families and the other innocent people who come shopping here that they'll be safe when they come visit the MacArthur Center? Well,
we try to do the best we can. You know, from the first incident, we made some control measures in which we beefed up security. We trained the mall security in how to identify potential issues with respect to gang members. As you know, the first incident was surrounding gang activity. Having been a police officer here for almost 30 years and the chief for almost the last 3, there's a high probability this probably was related to the same type of issues in terms of gang beef turning into gunfire. So you know, I'll continue to say we as a community, okay, we have to do more than what we've done regarding these guns and these young men.
Is the mall a gun-free zone?
That I don't know off the top of my head. I would suspect that it is.
Chief, we spoke, and I know you're just getting everything together right now, but we spoke to several witnesses who say the first thing that went into their mind when they heard shots was Virginia Beach and what happened there. How was the handling by mall security and the officers that were the first responders here in your assessment so far, in light of the incidents that's happened?
So I can tell you only what I know thus far, okay? I know we had an officer working off duty that responded immediately to the sound of the gunfire. And we had an off-duty officer in there as well that also responded immediately to the sound of gunfire. I am highly confident in any active threat situation in the city of Norfolk. Every officer has been thoroughly trained in how to respond to said situation.
Were there any weapons recovered? I know the gun study is something that is near and dear to your heart, so is that going to play a role in this incident?
As far as I know, there was no weapon recovered. Generally, when there is a crime such as this and we recover the weapon, we generally do a background investigation of the gun. In a lot of cases, these guns are stolen or lost or acquired through other illegal means. which I've been drumming for the last 2.5 years, that we really got to find a way to make these guns more difficult for some of our folks to get their hands on. You know, when you look at the number of felons and the number of young folks that acquire these guns through our gun data, it's alarming. It's alarming. And until we do something different to make it difficult for them to get their hands on them, you know, I'll be meeting you again somewhere in the very near future, is not here, somewhere else in Hampton Roads.
Should people be afraid to come to the mall?
No, people should not be afraid to come to the mall. Unfortunately, we live in a society where this is what we're starting to accept. And the more these things happen, the more comfortable people get. And, you know, that's not reassuring, and it shouldn't be that way. This is the greatest country in the world, and people shouldn't have to go anywhere, whether it's the mall, school, or on a public street, and have to worry about, you know, random gunfire. You know, there should be something that we should be able to do to kind of curtail some of this activity. And it's not just on the police, okay? It's on the community. At some point, we're going to say enough is enough, and we're going to roll our sleeves up and do what we know we should be doing.
Anything else we didn't ask that you'd like to add, Chief?
No, once again, I thank you all for, you know, coming out here. I know we called you rather late, but I appreciate you coming out here because I really wanted to say something to the citizens of Norfolk as well as Hampton Roads.
Well, thank you very much, Chief.
I have a question.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. The people that were injured, were they employees? Were they working?
No.
No.
No. For what I understand, there was an elderly lady, I shouldn't say elderly because I'm in my 50s, but that was struck in the leg, lower leg. And the gentleman that was having the altercation was shot in the lower hip area somewhere, and he was just, you know, a patron.
And this is just a logistics question for me. Do you know if there's any damage, significant damage because of this incident or anything?
I don't know. I haven't been inside. Okay.